and welcome. My name is Jocelyn and today we are doing Shop My Stash for the month of May. I'm very excited because I haven't filmed a Shop My Stash for a couple months now. So here we are pulling in a bunch of new products thanks to the VIB sale recently that happened at Sephora. If you're not familiar with what Shop My Stash is, it is a way to circulate through my collection. Basically at the beginning of every month I go through my collection and pick out items from each makeup category to use and focus on for the coming month. I do have a different series where I pick eyeshadow palettes for the coming month, so I won't be going over any eyeshadow palettes in this video. The video right before this one is the one that you'll want to go to if you want to see the eyeshadow palettes. It's a real quick video, I think like 5 minutes. In that video, Google random number generates 5 different palettes for me to use from my collection. So it's a fun video series if you'd like to check it out. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pick out some makeup to use for the month of May. Alright, so we are starting off in this drawer right here, which holds kind of the majority of my makeup outside of lips and eyeshadows. So this is all my base and cheek products, and we're going to start in this corner over here, which has all of my foundations. And I have 2 brand new foundations in here that I picked up during the VIB sale that we're going to be pulling in. There are these 2 right here. So we have the KVB Beauty Good Apple foundation. This is in the shade Light 10. I haven't tried this one at all yet, so I'm very excited about that. And then this other one, the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop foundation, this is in the shade 3. And I did use this during a first impressions, but I've only used it I think twice now, so I'm very excited to get more use out of this. I think this is going to be a really good option for the summertime. And I think I'm just going to focus on using those 2 foundations and really get a good grasp on how I feel about them, what my thoughts are. Moving into the concealer section, which is just this little section right here. Another new product to my collection is this Rare Beauty concealer. This is in the shade 130N, and I have only used this once during the same first impressions video, so I'm excited to give this more of a use. I was gonna just stick with that one concealer, but I think I'd like to have a second option, so I'm gonna pull in this Glossier concealer. This is just the stretch concealer in the shade G11. I've got quite a good dip in here. It would be kind of fun to hit pan, so maybe I'll make that a point. Maybe I'll throw this into my Partners in Cream project pan or something like that. So we're gonna bring this in. It'll give me 2 concealers, 2 foundations. All right, moving up just a smidge into my highlighters. I have been using the Jaclyn Hill highlighters that I picked up a couple months ago. I've been using those pretty consistently, and they're currently sitting in my beauty box, but I think I'd like to kind of delve outside of those a little bit, but to what? I don't know. There's some in here that are still a little bit too dark for me right now. The first one that I'm feeling pulled to is this Kevyn Aucoin Neo highlighter. This is what the inside looks like. This has got a really nice gradient of a lighter shimmer to kind of a more bronzy shimmer. I really like this palette a lot. I got this from Octoly many years ago, and I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna pull this in, and then kind of exact opposite of that, I'm gonna pull in this Kaleidos Cosmetics Skywalker highlighter. I think this might be fun to play around with. This is a really cool blue glitter highlight. I don't know how well you can kind of see it right there. Let me see. Ooh, that's kind of a good look right there. It's this really cool icy blue highlight. It doesn't look as blue on camera as it does in person, but it's a really cool color, so we'll see if I can get some playtime in with that. And then moving back to my blushes back here, I haven't officially pulled these in to a Shop My Stash, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. These are the 2 Glossier Cloud Paints that I got from Heather. I have them in the shades Beam and Dusk. I have pulled for them a couple times, but again, I just haven't pulled them into a Shop My Stash yet, and the couple times I've used them though, I have really loved them. So I think it'd be a good opportunity to get some really good solid use out of them. And let's see, next we have the powders. So there's 2 that I want to bring in. The first, I think, yeah, the first is this one right here. This is the Hourglass Mineral Veil Translucent Powder. So I want to bring this in because this provides a little bit more of a dewy kind of finish on the skin. And then opposite to that is something else that I got new that I used during my first impressions. It's this Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder in the shade 1. I've used this just a couple of times and it definitely provides much more of a matte finish. So I think having 2 different types of powders, finishing powders to use with those 2 new foundations and the new concealer would be pretty good. And then maybe I can also try this powder with the Glossier concealer, because the Glossier one's a little bit more natural, a little bit more dewy. I can kind of just play around with some options. And then finally, bronzer. I've got my little group of bronzers right here, and this is the last new thing from this section that I'm going to be pulling in. And another thing that I used during my first impressions, this is the Lila B Sunkissed Bronzed Beauty Duo. This is what the inside looks like. I was very impressed with this the first time I used it, and I am really excited to pull it into a rotation officially to give this a good solid use for the month of May. And that is gonna do it for this drawer. All right, moving into the center drawer in my vanity, where I've got some single shadows, some liquid shadows, and some lip products. I really don't know if I want to pull much in from this section. Okay, so I think the first thing that I'm going to bring in is this ColourPop eyeshadow. This is in the shade Sage Bundle. This is the one and only Jelly Much eyeshadow that I own from them. This is what the inside looks like. It's kind of hard to see. It definitely dried up a lot faster than I was expecting it to. I think I only purchased this maybe a year ago. Let me see if I can even, if it's even still, okay, well, it's definitely pretty dry. Let me pull it in, see if it's still any good. This doesn't bode well for any future Jelly Much eyeshadows that I might have thought about purchasing, because this is definitely one of the newer-ish products in my collection, and it is already pretty dried out. So we'll see. We'll pull it in, give it a try. And another eyeshadow that I want to bring in is this Stila one right here. This is in the shade Cloud. This is a really pretty color. It's like an iridescent purple color with like a, I don't even know how to describe it, like with a rose gold kind of shift to it. This is one of my favorites. I really like this shade, and I feel like for the month of May, it's kind of perfect. It's kind of perfect to bring in, so we're going to bring that in. In terms of lips, I did pick up this Tower 28 lip gloss in the shade Cashew during the VIB sale, so I am using this currently. It's in my beauty box. Thought I'd mention that real fast. A lot of what's in here is pretty matte, so like it's a lot of liquid lipsticks, which are just not quite my vibe right now. I might bring in, let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try to bring this in. This is one of the Huda Beauty. It is one of their matte lipsticks in the shade Joyride. It's kind of a muted, almost rosy toned color. I haven't used this too much, but I feel like I could get some use out of it with some of the eyeshadows that I have pulled in for this month. So we're going to bring this in. I think that's going to do for lip products, because I do have a handful sitting on and in my vanity. I'm trying to limit what I'm bringing in so I really use what I'm bringing in. All right, and let's fill up my beauty box. All right, so in this drawer right here, we added the 2 foundations, the 2 concealers, and then I already had this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer in here. I haven't really used this much since I pulled it in months ago, so I've just kind of left it in here. I'm not a huge fan of primers, so I don't really go through them that often, so we'll go ahead and just leave that in here. And then on this side, I have the 2 Glossier Cloud Paints, the bronzer, and the Kaleidos highlighter. Moving down to the bottom drawer, we have the 2 powders, the other highlighter I added in, and then the 3 Jaclyn Hill highlighters that I've kind of been pulling for here and there. And then I've got the 2 sprays that I'm using over here on the left-hand side. Up on top here, just in case you haven't seen it before, I have my 2 Auric
eyeshadows, my Auric Glow Lust, 2 M Cosmetics blushes, and then I also put the Huda Beauty lipstick that doesn't fit in this drawer right here. I went ahead and just popped this up here.
And there you have it. Those are the makeup items that I will be using for the month of May. Very exciting. Lots of fun new makeup to test and try out and play with. Again, as a reminder, if you want to see the eyeshadow palettes that I will be using for the month of May, check out the video right before this one. I'll also link it down in the description box. It's a really fun video series where Google every month randomly generates the eyeshadow palettes that I need to use for my collection. With that being said, if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss future Shop My Stash videos or project pans or anything like that, don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.